What's up, St. Louis? Jamal Mayers here. Want a chance to watch the Blues like an insider with me? When you become an annual STL Sports Central insider, you're automatically entered to win. We're picking two winners, each bringing a guest to join me in the Blues Alumni Suite for the game versus the Edmonton Oilers on Friday, March 13th. That's right, Connor McDavid. We'll have free drinks, heavy appetizers, and an unforgettable night of Blues hockey. Sign up now at STL Sports Central, and I'll see you at the game.
Greetings. How are you today? Welcome to another Bernie Show presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. I am Bernie Miklasz, and I've been writing and talking about St. Louis area sports since 1985. And here at STL Sports Central, I stay busy with my worthless self by doing videos and columns. And I join Randy Carricker on his show each week. And you can catch me frequently throughout the week on KMOX FM and AM. All right, today's topic. Only one St. Louis Cardinal made the annual list of top 100 players right now as chosen by the MLB Network in advance of 2026. And that player was Ivon Herrera, who came in near the bottom at number 98. I'm a little surprised there's been so much attention paid to this locally, but not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not being critical. But I think it was more about the nature of the debate, if you will, that surprised me. Because I think there's a much bigger picture here than fussing over which Cardinal made it and which Cardinal should have made it over Ivon Herrera. Brendan Donovan should have been the guy. Masyn Winn should have been the guy. Maybe Alec Burleson should have been the guy. And again, that stuff's fun to talk about. I swear I'm really not trying to be a jerk here, but I've enjoyed reading the pieces and listening to people talk about it. I really have. But with all due respect, I really believe there is a much larger picture here, a much larger point to be made. I went back in time to review the MLB Network's top 100 players going into the new season. And this tradition goes back to before the start of the 2011 season. That start before the 2011 season was the very first top 100 list. So what I did is spend a little time this morning looking at every year to see how many Cardinals were on the top 100 list since the MLB Network started doing this. And this, the top 100 they just put out is the 16th that they've put out in this series, beginning with the pre-2011 selections. And this is the first time, the only time that the Cardinals had only one player in the top 100. The first and only time it's happened since this began in as a baseball tradition before the 2011 season. There have been multiple Cardinals players in the top 100 list in each of the previous 15 years. As recently as 2020, the Cardinals had only two top 100 guys, Jack Flaherty at number 38 and first baseman Paul Goldschmidt at number 46. But it wasn't that long ago. It's even more recent. Before the 2024 season, the Cardinals put four players in the top 100. Nolan Arenado at 33, Paul Goldschmidt 36, Sonny Gray at 49, Wilson Contreras at 82. What do those guys have in common? They're no longer Cardinals. As the changeover, picked up steam over the last 3 years. In the history of these top 100 lists, and again, there have been 16 of them, St. Louis has had a minimum of 4 in the top 100 9 times. And before, they had 5 a couple of times, and there was a 5-season stretch, and I'm sorry why, I'm just making sure I have my facts straight. There was a 5-season stretch where they had either 6 or 7 players in the top 100, which is pretty amazing. The last time the Cardinals had 7 players was before the 2012 season, after they had won the World Series at the October previous to that. The 7 were Yadier Molina, Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, Chris Carpenter, David Freese, Carlos Beltran, Adam Wainwright. That's a lot of talent. And when you look at it in terms of how does that compare to what they have now? we all know the answer. It's kind of right? A lot of sweet memories, though. And now, before 2026, the Cardinals have just one dude in the top 100, and he's third from the bottom. Again, I'm not hung up on Herrera making this one spot near the bottom instead of other potential Cardinals picks. But instead of my takeaway being, I can't believe Herrera is on there instead of Donovan or Winn. No, my takeaway, I think, is just a little more substantial because of what it means in terms of the state of the Cardinals. And by having only one guy on the top 100, and that one guy being in at number 98, and that one guy, even locally, people question whether he should be on there, right? It just is a strong confirmation, or maybe we can even call it reaffirmation, of just how far the once mighty Cardinals have fallen, and why it underlines and underscores, it reaffirms for sure why the Cardinals had to rebuild, because the talent drain has just been going on for too long. Now it's gotten down to one guy at number 98 on the top 100 list. And I'm just using that as a vehicle for some context about what's been happening with the Cardinals. I mentioned this, but let me sum it up better this way. Back in the glory days, there was a 6-season stretch that began before the 2011 season, and that was the first top 100 list. A 6-season stretch starting right before the 2011 season, where the Cardinals, over 6 seasons, they had an average of 6.3 players on the top 100 list. Wait a minute. Yeah. They had an average of 6.3 players on the top 100 list from 2011 through 2016. Wow. Though them were the days, right? But all that talent gradually melted away, and the player development system crumbled, and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars were wasted on terrible contract decisions. And the Cardinals slipped deeper into mediocrity, and then they slipped even more. Hello, welcome to failure. When I return for my second segment of today's Bernie Show, I'll talk about why I'm okay with Herrera getting the nod from MLB.com this year. And later on, I'll take a look at the future and what's ahead of the Cardinals. Try to rebound, recover, regenerate. Use your favorite R word from having such an alarmingly low talent level as they do right now. But before that, I want to take time to talk about DraftKings Sportsbook and the upcoming Super Bowl 60 matchup between the Seahawks and the Patriots. Yeah, and the crown is yours for Super Bowl 60. It deserves a sportsbook built for this moment, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, put you right in the center of the biggest game of the football year. Anything can happen during the Super Bowl, but DraftKings has got your back with the early exit feature, which means if a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting, no worries. During the NFL playoffs, those of you watching video recently, I've been offering an observation or a take in each video. I take a look at wagering opportunities and some other factors that could influence the outcome of the game. Today, my focus is on the New England tight end Hunter Henry in Super Bowl 60. There are two Hunter Henry. I like saying that name, Hunter Henry. Two Hunter Henry props in this matchup against Seattle's tough defense. The first is Henry over or under 37.5 yards receiving. I've also seen this at DraftKings at 38.5 yards, which really doesn't alter my thinking. And the second prop is Hunter Henry catching over or under 3.5 catches. So take your pick. Actually, I like Henry to go over in both props, going over 38.5 receiving yards and going over 3.5 catches. I always try to explain why rather than just blurting out a hot take. Here's why. Seattle's defense is outstanding, but that unit has had one weakness this year. It's covering tight ends. Based on the DVOA metric, the Seahawks ranked 29th in the league this season in defending tight ends. It's really a scheme-related thing. The Seahawks, what they like to do is put an emphasis on two areas: stuffing the run, and then in the passing game, using their best cover corners to clamp down on the opponent's perimeter receivers, the guys lining up outside. Opposing tight ends have averaged 8.32 targets per game against the Seahawks this season, which is the sixth highest target rate against an NFL defense this season. And when Henry has gone up against defenses that set up by funneling the tight end this season, New England quarterback Drake May looks for Hunter Henry, his favorite receiver, and Henry exceeded 38.5 yards 11 times during the regular season. In their two NFC playoff games to get to the Super Bowl, the Seahawks allowed San Francisco's tight end to post 59 receiving yards and Rams tight end Colby Parkinson to roll up 62 receiving yards. So I figure Henry is going to be a busy man in Super Bowl 60. And for those who take a chance on betting the over, all facts point to the over being a logical choice, a logical bet. Are you new to DraftKings? Well, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the codes STL Sports. That's code STL Sports to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Welcome back to my second segment, and I want to stand up for Ivon Herrera making the list, even though he spent most of his 2025 season in the DH role. I'm not going to dwell on too much of this, but let me just point out a few things. Last season, among major league right-handed hitters that had 450 plate appearances, Herrera, based on weighted runs created plus, was tied as the fifth best hitter in that rather large group of right-handed batters. Fifth in the majors. He was the best right-handed bat the Cardinals had last season, leading the right side hitters in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, and weighted runs created plus. Injuries reduced the number of games Herrera could play in, but he still played enough to provide strong value in his performance, especially and obviously his offense. In cases like this, it's good to use prorated stats when you have players that could only play so many games. And I'm not talking about really small sample size. I mean, after all, the dude did have 450 plate appearances, but there's a good metric that I lean on more to kind of even out value ratings. It's called wins above replacement, prorated over 162 games. The shorthand for that is WAR 162. And here's how the best Cardinals players ranked in wins above replacement, 162, as in, wins above replacement if you prorate it to 162 games. Herrera was first at 4.84 WAR. Wilson Contreras next, 3.6. Masyn Winn, 3.52. Alec Burleson, 3.5. And Brendan Donovan, 3.16. Again, that's prorated over 162 games. It gives you a fairer look at how well the performance levels were. And Herrera's 4.8 prorated R put him in the top 20 of all major league hitters in 2025. So in that context, why wouldn't he be in the top 100, especially, considering he was 98th? And keep in mind that WAR, because some of you might say, and I get it, what about his defense? What about his base running? Fair, I get it. But that is the point. The WAR, this WAR numbers, wins above replacement number, always encompasses defense, base running, and offense. As we know, Herrera wasn't much of a factor defensively last season. He couldn't throw anybody out, behind the plate, but he caught only 13 games. He played left field 4 times, and the rest of it was DH time. And though Fangraphs has him with a base running rate last season that was slightly above league average, slightly, let's be honest. I mean, his base running wasn't much of a factor. And I remember a couple, 3 games where he made some pretty bad blunders on the base paths. So what I'm saying is, that prorated WAR of 4.8, to me, is even more impressive because nearly all of it was distilled through his offense. Herrera's an outstanding hitter, and he's still young, and he's only going to get better. And those at the MLB Network who put the top 100 list together for this year recognized Herrera's value because that bat really carries. That bat does a lot for a team that does not have much offense. He is an exception, to say the least. So I respect MLB Network for realizing that. Looking ahead, there's some questions about Herrera's role, and I'm going to talk about that next, as well as some early encouraging signs with the Cardinals farm system, because more and more stuff continues to come out on that, and I'll tell you what's the latest. As we monitor this farm system, which to me is really important to monitor, it's hardly a waste of my time. I enjoy tracking it because this team is trying and must improve a lean talent base. For right now, I'm talking about the offense. They better have some help on the way as more and more young players gradually make the trek to St. Louis. But before that, gentlemen, I have a message for you from Blue Chew. If you are off your game, it means a very simple thing. You got to rise up and stay up. And Blue Chew will help you with that challenge, let's say, with their exciting new product to enhance performance in the bedroom or any room. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the number one chewable ED brand in America. And this new option is setting the gold standard for performance and then some. Blue Chew Gold has additional ingredients for increased blood flow to launch your rocket and keep your rocket in the air, and you will absolutely enjoy the ride. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and can work in as little as 15 minutes. You don't need to spend much time on the on-deck circle. Get in there. It means you can get busy quicker and stay in the game longer, and who wouldn't want that, right? The next time she sends one of those, "Hey, are you up?" messages, well, look at that text and answer with another text, but include a picture of Blue Chew. Don't include a picture of that. Don't want to see you get in trouble. You can make life easier by getting harder, so don't miss out. Go visit BlueChew.com. Got a special deal for our audience. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code Bernie. That is promo code Bernie. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for helping the guys out, also for sponsoring the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. All right, welcome back for part 3 of today's Bernie Show. First on Ivon Herrera, close out this part on him. He wants to catch, as we know. The Cardinals have said, yeah, we'll give him a chance to show that he's improving defensively. Give him a chance to show that, he had that elbow clean up and his arm will be stronger and his techniques will be better and all that stuff. So they want to give him a chance. And there's no question about it. Herrera's offense would give the Cardinals exceptional value at the catching position if, in fact, he is a regular catcher. But what happens if Herrera continues to be a liability behind the plate, at least from the throwing standpoint, but also calling games, handling the pitchers, et cetera, et cetera. If he's a liability behind the plate, will the Cardinals keep him there? I don't see how they can, because they have a lot of catchers. You can even say that they have a pleasant problem of having too many catchers. Jimmy Crooks and Pedro Pages are superior to Herrera defensively. The Cardinals also have 2 heralded catching prospects, Leonardo Bernal and Raniel Rodriguez, developing in the minors. They're both on the top 100 lists. Raniel's way up on those lists, even though he's only 19 years old. I've seen him ranked in the 20s. I think I even saw him ranked 19th in the top 100 by somebody. He's 19 years old. At some point, I assume the Cardinals will trade a catcher or two. They're going to have to clear, pardon the expression, but to clear the runway for Rodriguez, who ultimately will be their guy. They could probably get a good return for Bernal, an okay return for Pages. They would get a great return for Herrera, even if he's not catching, simply because of his elite hitting skills and the fact that he's got several more seasons of contract control. That said, there's other options. According to Derek Gould, the Cardinals are likely, or they have started lightly anyway, to begin the project of prepping Herrera to play first base. And he would be, if that would actually happen and he does a good, solid job at it, Well, he'd be a long-term fit there at first base for the Cardinals, and that bat's in the lineup. And the DH spot could be used to put another good bat in the lineup. So the Cardinals may have only one top 100 player right now, and that's kind of a bummer, but it is reality, and it absolutely should be pointed to as proof that the rebuild was absolutely necessary. And it also reaffirms how smart they were to do it. They waited too long, in my opinion. In terms of young talent for the future and from the pipeline, well, infielder J.J. Weatherholt, unless the Cardinals are just like completely bananas, J.J. Weatherholt will make his big league debut in 2026, and it should be on opening day. Again, unless they're bananas. Outfielder Joshua Baez should be here no later than the start of 2027. I don't even rule out maybe the second half of 2026. Now, this week, 2 updated farm system rankings came out. 2 more. Kylie McDaniel of ESPN put the Cardinals at number 9. Number 9 farm system among the 30. And Keith Law, earlier in the week, my friend of The Athletic, he put the Cardinals at number 11. So if you actually just combine the two, you get 20. So that's an average of the number 10 farm system in the majors. Baseball America previously credited the Cardinals for having the most improved farm system in the game at the end of 2025. And Baseball America, when they come out officially with their top 30, I'm sure the Cardinals will be in a good spot. So it isn't hype to believe the situation is going to get better as this farm system continues to improve. And this farm system has improved. Keith Law wrote, talking about why when he put the Cardinals 11th, everything he had to say was positive, but this one caught my eye. Keith Law wrote, and I shortened this quote up a little bit just to not get too bogged down. Keith Law wrote about the Cardinals, quote, "They brought in an all-new player development leadership group, and they saw immediate results with a large number of their prospects. The Cardinals have the best catching depth of any team in baseball, and they've already shown they can help both hitters and pitchers make real mechanical and, quote, stuff changes. There were some setbacks, including pitching injuries, but on the whole, it was a very positive year and a great sign for the future of this system." That ain't Fredbird. There's a lot of Fredbirds. That ain't Fredbird. Keith Law is pretty discerning, and he's got the reputation of being a tough grader with his report card. So when he says that, I listen. With so much talent in development, I'm looking forward to watching the Cardinals, have the chance to reanimate their big league roster step by step, player by player, and in time, that annual top 100 list should be repopulated with more Cardinals players. I certainly hope so, because I want to watch good baseball again. I don't know about you all. Thank you for watching The Bernie Show. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button on our videos. You can do that on the screen right now, and it really helps us, so thank you. And please leave your comments. I thank you for that, and I thank you for your support. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Thank you.
St. Louis sports fans, go deeper with STL Sports Central Insiders. Get exclusive access to Bernie, Randy, Claves, Jamal Mayers, and more, plus your chance to watch a Blues game in the Alumni Box with Jamal himself. Monthly giveaways, Bernie's columns all week, and support for local sports media. Join now at stlsportscentral.com.